Greetings and welcome to my channel Midnight Contemplations Art. Well, today I'll be talking about just making progress as an artist and the weird limitations we have in making that progress. The reference image I've been using today is from, I think, on Instagram. I'm not sure, I just found it on Google, so I'm not quite sure where it's from. Probably Instagram, judging by the size and shape of it. And I think it's by someone called Kim Sung-hee on Instagram, so if you want to check them out, you can, at Kim Sung-hee on Instagram, most likely. Okay, so it's this piece that sort of prompted this train of thought of progress, because in this piece I can see that I've made progress from my original digital painting, which is on my channel, so if you want to see that, I'll link it in the description and above in the iCard if I can find out how. So it's really strange to me sometimes how, as artists, we kind of forget that we're making progress every day and we sort of just keep looking forward without looking at the present. And it's very strange considering that if we're looking forward, we must know about the present, but we don't. And honestly, this isn't some sort of call-out post or anything about oh my god, artists, they can't see anything. I'm one of these people. I often forget that while I'm making a piece, I'm sort of just whining about it, oh my god, this is terrible, I hate it, what am I doing? But I kind of forget that this is what I need to make progress, and this piece sort of just hit me in the face with that realization that I like this piece and I've made progress in digital painting from the start, which was I don't know, the start of June? I'm not sure. Oh my god, what day is today? I'm terrible with times, so I think the start of June, or maybe the middle of June, I started digital painting, and now I've gotten quite far with it, which is really fun and super exciting, and also makes you just think that a month ago I didn't know how to do this, but now I do. So I've made progress in art in a way that I thought was sort of unattainable, because I do remember thinking, oh, I'll never be able to do digital paintings. I don't it's strange where that train of thought comes from, because that's sort of what I was going for my entire art career, but here I am making digital paintings. It's possible, people. Get your sketchbooks out and draw. Do it. Honestly, this is a really weird thing with artists on progress, and in a lot of media as well, it seems like artists are either just naturally talented, which is really strange considering art, but that's a conversation for later, or the progress they make is just, it's either amazing progress where it's just magic and they have now become a completely different human being and they can draw, or they make no progress at all and end up being that sort of starving artist trope thing. It's one or the other. Honestly, it's very strange to me how that works, the sort of idea of progress in art and how people usually perceive it. A lot of the time you see people are oh, I've made some progress in art, and then they show you a complete masterpiece that's how? How did you do that? What magical fairy person did you sell your soul to do that? And it's strange how sort of weird it's become to say that you've made progress in art, because a lot of people just expect you to now be Leonardo da Vinci or any other great master, when really you might have just learned how to draw hands, and it's a bit embarrassing. But that's the thing with art, is that it's a very slow process, because it's literally cultivating a skill that you can't really, that doesn't have much physical point. With sports and the there's usually a physical aspect to it, of if you have a specific body type, body shape, you'll be able to do the sport better than someone who might not have that. But with art, it's just sort of, if you, even if you don't have, even if you have a physical boundary to making art, most people can make art. And there's lots of really great stories about that, so if you want to check those out, you can. There's some really heartwarming, wonderful stories about people who have been making art, even through physical limitations and the and I find them really inspiring, and those people are super they have great perseverance and all that. And yeah. Wow, this video turned into a lot of different things at once. Okay, let's get back to the main topic here, which is progress. So looking at this piece, I just realised I was working a lot differently than I used to, and like this progress that I've made is sort of more like a method approach, because before I didn't know what method to use. I sort of started by like laying down the flat colours, which I still do, but then I moved on to like doing each part separately and trying to like fully render each part of the piece. So I mean, like, let's start with forehead, and let's do this eye, then the other eye, then the nose. And I feel like that's sort of where I went wrong. Well, now I use a more methodological approach where I say, okay, let's do the skin, then I put down like the desaturated shadows, the saturated shadows, the highlights, and then the highlights. It's hard to explain what I'm saying right now, and this is not really what the video is about. I'm just trying to like say that I have made some progress within my like method of doing things. Another thing I've noticed is that a lot of the time now, like, this process is a lot easier for me to like do. Like, a lot of the time before it was like, what do I do? I've forgotten what to do. Well, this is now more like a calming thing, which is interesting to me just because, wow, I'm calm because of doing something that literally terrified me a few weeks ago. Well, I guess people change. So let's just talk about the piece for a second. It's pretty much a direct copy of the picture, nothing like special. Also, like, a lot of people think that like if you copy a picture, you're somehow copying the artist or the photographer who made that image, and it's like, that's very not true. Like, a lot of the time, if you're painting an image that's already been done, you're not trying to copy the photographer or anything, you're just trying to learn. I mean, it's always good to give credit where credit is due if you know who the artist is. And a lot of the people say, if you just say credit to the artist, it's not enough, but it's like, sometimes you legitimately don't know the artist. It's possible that they have a more private account, or it's possible that they don't like post art online anymore, or it's possible that like they only made one piece and like that's it. So a lot of the time when people say, but just saying credit to the artist isn't enough, it is enough if like that's all you can find. Try and find more, try and like tell people, I found this picture somewhere and I'm not sure who created it. If you can, please tell me so I can credit them later. And a lot of you guys have done that in the comments, I'm quite sure, which is super nice of you all. Thank you. And I thank you for answering my questions, like my random questions about like cars and things, such as the last video, I think, where I asked which car it was. Someone gave me an answer. Thank you for that. Thank you so much for being such supportive YouTube people. So I think what the point I'm trying to make with progress is that like a lot of the time artists feel pressured to like make massive amount of progress in short amounts of time, when progress is really linear. Not linear, I'm sorry, oh, I'm so bad at talking. When progress is like really slow a lot of the time, and a lot of the time you don't notice you've done anything until later on you look at something and you're like, wow, amazing, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And a lot of the time you just have to appreciate where you are now to be able to look at the road ahead of you. And that's one thing that art sort of develops. A lot of the time our eyes get better at seeing what we like than our hands are able to recreate it. So all of the time what you're seeing and what you want to be at is just too much for your like physical skill to do right now. And that's something I think a lot of us need to understand. Sometimes it's just not possible for us to do something, and we just have to practice it. There's going to be very little actual way to do it without practicing. Honestly, this video has been really rambly. I'm really sorry if you find that annoying. That's just all my videos. I'm not very good with like talking to cameras or anything, so yeah. So it sort of just becomes a weird mess of saying words and hoping they make sense. Yeah. So my main message here is, don't be afraid of making progress, and don't forget where you are right now, because right now you're at basically what should be your best, because it's now. And wherever you go in the future, that's going to be your best at that time. So yeah, it's just a nice thing to think about, that like sometimes you don't need to be the best for right now, because you could be better later. And that made no sense, I'm sorry. Anyway, so a quick thing that I just wanted to tell you guys. In this piece I used something called noise. Not like noise, but like in art they sort of like having like different coloured dots to sort of create an element of texture in your pieces. So this includes sort of like lots of different dots, and I'm pretty sure you've probably seen this thing being used. So in this piece I used it for the knit headband they're wearing. I'm not quite sure what you would call that, but the knit headband thing. And I use noise quite often for more like furry textures, things like sweaters or something like that. It can also be used for skin, however that's a little bit more complicated, so I didn't go for it this time. But it's really exciting seeing like new art things and like using them and seeing if they work. I really like using the noise function for the scarf thing, because it really I don't know, it just made the idea of this easier and more fun. And it also created sort of this texture that I wouldn't be able to get without a lot of painstaking effort on my part, so I was really glad about that. Overall, I like this piece a lot, and yeah, although I'm pretty sure in a few years I'll be like, oh my god, what is this? And that's completely normal. It's completely normal to beat up your own work later on, because like now you're much better, and there's no shame to it. That's the thing. A lot of people say, oh my god, you shouldn't beat up your own work or whatever. Like, it's normal. It's just what happens. It's like if you look back at your like 8 or 14-year-old self, you'll just cringe because, oh my god, I can't believe I was into that band, or I was such a weeb or whatever. And that's just how it works. You grow, and then like you find it funny to make fun of your old self, and it's honestly better than like, you know, thinking that back then you were way worse, and it's sort of funnier to make fun of it than it is to like really hate it. So don't be afraid of making progress slowly, because that's just how it works. Progress is really slow when it comes to art, and sometimes you don't realise you've made it until you've done it. So keep growing and all that. This is the final piece. I really like it. Thank you again for Kim Sung-hee for this image. I'm not sure what else to say. Thank you. Do all that YouTube stuff. Goodbye.